Okay. So this is the first lesson. All together there will be 3 classroom lessons and followed by on-site. 1 hour lesson in the class, 2 hour on-site practice. After this 3 weeks, we will still carry on, or still be with you for another 3 more weeks on the site only for 2 hours. Okay. So today, what I'm sharing with you are very basic, or the basic planting. Okay, how to plant vegetable. Why we go very basic is because some of you may have experience here, but some of you are just totally new, and even some of you may have experience planting something, but always I got the feedback is I do not have a green finger. Okay, neither do I have any green color on my finger. None of us have green finger. Nothing to do with color, nothing to do with body part, but it's all about the science behind planting. So I'm going to make it very simplified, okay, but go a little deeper than what you can see on the soil only, because actually a lot of things is inside the soil, and it's very micro level that we don't see them. That's why we get confused. Why like that? I put in water, I put in fertilizer, and the plant fail, die, because something that we don't see, but it's happening there. It's very important. Okay. So what contributes to a plant growth? Here we have it. Okay. Sunlight. We need sunlight. Right? No sunlight, plant cannot grow. But except some vegetable can, no, kind can go without sunlight at all. They call jiwang, very yellow color one. But most of the plant, 99% of the plant, require sunlight. Is our sunlight in Singapore sufficient? In fact, more than sufficient. That's why we have to shade it off a little bit. Otherwise, the plant get burned. Okay, so a few elements. Soil is one of the very important element. Is it besides soil? Can we plant something without soil? Yes, yeah. Something called hydroponic. But hydroponic is a different technique altogether, and require more understanding about the science behind planting. So we are not practicing in our community garden because the benefit of most commoner planting experience or without experience, still the soil planting is much easier. But why soil planting is much easier? Anybody know? Okay. The thing is that because for millions of years, nature have already refined our ecosystem. Okay, all the bacteria inside, whatever, it balance. You see, in any of the deserted area, let's say nuclear plant accident, so then body have to vacate, right? After a few years, what happened? You see a jungle. You see, that do we have to add fertilizer, water, and everything to the area? Nothing at all, no. As long as there's no human involved, plant grow and thrive. Okay, so nature have already done its course. But then why are we sitting here today? What am I doing here? Supposed to share with you the knowledge. What we want to do is do it in a controlled environment that conducive to us. Do you want to go into the jungle and then mosquito flying all over you? No, we don't want that environment. We want an environment, especially we design the system over here, it's suitable for senior. In fact, for all age. Even you are a very young man, you don't want to bend down up, all the time for hours and then get yourself tired out. You want fun, right? So we design a system, do a controlled environment that still rely on all the natural resources like sunlight, okay, soil. We want soil instead of water, hydroponic. So soil, and then we need water. What else plant need to survive on? Carbon dioxide. What carbon dioxide? We avoid carbon dioxide. In fact, for our health, why plant need? There's a process called photosynthesis. I think most of you have heard it. Heard of it into secondary school science. Photosynthesis. So you require carbon dioxide. But what about oxygen? I thought plant always breathe in carbon dioxide and breathe out oxygen. Is that true? There's more of that. Understand, right? Yes and no. Why yes and no? The plant take in carbon dioxide to do photosynthesis. That's the process that requires carbon dioxide. But it also requires oxygen for the root to grow. The leaf, while the leaf after creating carbon dioxide mixed with water, it actually generates oxygen. but the root itself also requires oxygen to grow. And one other very important gas or air gas is nitrogen. In our atmosphere, we cannot feel, cannot touch, cannot see. It's transparent. 78% of our air is made up of nitrogen. And nitrogen is the main ingredient for plant growth. You see, any leafy green, it actually you need the nutrient, the nitrogen, to grow leaf. Okay, so these three are the atmospheric gas that we need for planting. There are some other things very minute that I don't want to mention here. And then lighting. Lighting is the process of energy given to the plant to convert all the nutrients into the plant food. And then the plant will supply to the leaf, the stem, the root, and then the root will pick up nutrients and then we start growing. Okay, go next. It doesn't reflect. So how and where the plant receive the nutrient? Soil. Most of the nutrient come from the soil because we add fertilizer to the soil, and the root of the plant is the main purpose of the root of the plant is to pick up nutrient. Then what about other part? Does the leaf pick up nutrient? Yes, the leaf also can, but that's not the main part. In fact, this has to be under control. If you add water, when you water the plant, what do? You water happily over the plant, from the top all the way. Wrong, okay? It's the wrong way to do it because the leaf, okay, it can also absorb some more nutrient and moisture. But when the leaves are very wet, it attracts pests. So we try to when you need to water only the soil, the root, okay? Don't water from the top. The plant actually the leaf don't need a lot of water. It's the root that need water, and the root also do not need a lot of water. The root only need moisture. They mean like a sponge, You feel the sponge moist only. The plant need that, not drown the plant. So the green finger part, one of the green finger means is recover today or uncover today because you drown the plant. Especially a new gardener, they worried plant not enough. I'm very happy to serve the plant. So I keep feeding it. Wow, very good. Think the plant will thank you. No, the plant will get that will hate you because you drown them. Okay. So soil is the medium that support the soil because the root also needs something to support. You can use other things. Okay, you can use pepper, you can do a sponge, also can. But soil have more than that because soil have a lot of micro and nutrient inside. The micro is the bacteria. So don't get scared when I heard the word bacteria because the bacteria need to break down all this organic matter into a substance, a small element that the plant can absorb. Even how many of you know that inside our gut also we have a lot of bacteria? Yeah. We have thousands of bacteria. Probiotic. What's a biotic? That is bacteria. Like even the yogurt we drink, yogurt is actually a bacteria. Wine we drink fermented is yeast. Okay. Right. So yeah, all those are so they are bad bacteria. They are good. Bad one we call them pathogen. Good bacteria we call them bacteria or beneficial microbe. Okay. So the soil is to produce to help you the fiber to hold up the plant and also support the water retention and nutrient retention so that the plant have time to absorb all this nutrient and water to grow. Okay. Okay. Come down to soil. Is this soil means soil? Soil actually have many types of soil, and basically soil make up of a few types. Like soil can be clay. Most of our the yellow color in Singapore, most of the ground are made of clay. Okay, except Bukit Timah, made of granite. Okay. So clay make up a part of the soil, and then there are also slick. What is slick? Slick is like clayish, more dissolved. Later I'll show the diagram. I just gone through this, and then sand. Sand is the loosest among all. Okay. Okay. Let's go through. Okay. This is clay. Clay very compact. Water very hard to penetrate through. So when you have clay and then your plant go in, the plant also very hard to penetrate through. But why do we want a clay or do we want a clay? We still need clay because to make up a good substrate that means something that support the plant and give it nutrient. We need a mixture of clay, slate, and also sand, but a right proportion, so that we call it loomy soil. But soil, especially clay, when you plant a tree, soil is very important because it's very compact. So it hold the root. If you give you a speck of loomy soil and you plant a tree, wind blow, the tree will collapse because the root doesn't hold at all. So you still need, so depend on what we grow and what kind of soil mix we want to put together. Okay, this is like something like, well, very muddy, but you see, actually it's the flow of soil. All this soil actually comes from the rock and erode by rain, millions of years, to become small particles. Different type of mineral form into different things. Okay? This is not a singular compound. Actually, slate is the multiple compound that even contain nutrient inside. Sand is more pure, breakdown of limestone, so silicon. So this is sand, and the mixture of sand, slate, and clay, the right proportion, they call loomy soil. What's the difference with that? So, yeah. So what happens is, if give you a bag of sand, you can plant, but you have to keep adding water because the water drain off very fast. Nutrients will drain off together with the sand. So you have a mixture of soil, slate, and sand, the right proportion. Okay, then you have all the advantage, and also resolve the problem. So the sand will give you some aeration, so that the root can breathe, the water can penetrate through enough for the sand, the root to pick up. And at the same time, the slate will provide you the retention of the nutrient because it's very muddy, hold on. And then the soil, the clay, also the part that help to retain the water at the bottom, not drain off too fast. So all this together, we call it loomy soil. Okay. So it offer. So the texture of the soil is important because the texture is determined by sand, slate, and proportion. It impacts the nutrient holding. So as I say, just now we're talking about we need oxygen for the plant. Most people thought only need carbon dioxide because the root need to breathe. The plant also produce carbon dioxide under and also the microbe. When they bisect and dissect the organic material, it turns into carbon dioxide also. So all this need to breathe. If you don't allow the soil to breathe, then the root will not grow, not be strong. When the root is not strong, it cannot pick up nutrient, cannot pick up water, and we may even rot, and then the plant die. So important that the texture of the soil. So later on you will see our soil that we prepare for you. Most of the soil you see, in fact some of the pot if you ever plant, the more longer you plant, the soil become very hardened, almost like rock.
So do you have to scrape?
You have to scrape.
Loosen it.
But our system is that you plant for years, so the soil will not harden. So there's way to do it.
Like we buy from those packet, the one is it already mixed already? Like we used to buy from those nursery.
Nursery, when you first buy, you put it in, you plant, okay, because the soil is very loose. Why your soil compact? Is because you add water. You like see you think water, the pound on it, pounding, especially you put under the rain. The rain, if you go outside, when rain drop, you can feel the punch. So the rain is punching. Your soil will harden until become like almost like a piece of rock. Okay, water still can penetrate very slowly, and when water get in, very hard to get out. So very hard to get in, very hard to get out. Air cannot get in, cannot get out. So it's the whole thing you need to loosen.
This report.
Yeah, you report.
Yes, the report.
Yeah, but what we're doing here, we don't have to report. So later on, I'll explain to you on the site why we do not need to report. Okay. Then high clay content increase the EC. EC is the electric conductivity. That means the higher sand content decrease it. So as I said, the balance is important. So one is harder, one is to loosen up. So the balance is important. Okay, the structure of the soil define the particle arrangement, influence the nutrient. So this part is if you have a very aerated soil, but also you need to retain water. So all this, if you have a proper structure, then all the nutrients are there for the plant to pick up. Not only the plant need to grow, actually the microbe also need to grow. Okay, later then we go on to that. So adequate structure prevent leaching. Leaching is one problem that when you buy a potting soil, okay, after you planting one round, maybe if the potting soil they have already some nutrient inside, okay, you grow one round. Second round, the plant don't grow well. Why? Lack of nutrient. Okay, then you add fertilizer inside, you plant again. But then you find that you have to plant one more round, you have to add fertilizer again very often. In fact, maybe one growth cycle, you have to add 2 or 3 times of fertilizer. Why is this so? Because you keep pouring water. Keep pouring water, not only it will wash off the nutrient. So that's why some people have to pay a lot to buy slow release. What is slow release fertilizer? Actually, it's normal fertilizer. They add a coating, very small particle, add a coating on it. So it slowly wear off the coating, the water going slowly dissolve. Then the nutrients are paid. So actually, you are paying for it to delay so that you put a bit more. So for the whole cycle, you don't have to put any more fertilizer. Okay, so this is slow release. But we don't have to. Here also don't need to. Our normal soil can slow release the nutrient and retain the nutrient that does not leach at all in our structure. Okay. Drainage and aeration. Poor drain soil promote nitrogen loss. That bird meaning that the nitrogen will break down. It's not going to be useful for the plant. Okay. While excessive drainage of soil will cause leaching. Flood the soil will increase the mineral solubility. Okay. Moisture. Moisture is very important. As I say, the moisture itself, how much moisture is good for plant? Actually, maintain about 25 and not more than 50% of moisture. But when the top-down draining, it's very hard to control. Because the moment most of people will say you overwater, let water run out. So you actually wash out some nutrient, you compact the soil. At the same time, with water, you think the water will remain there for a whole day? No. The water may be retained there for 2 hours, 3 hours. Then the plant thirsty again. But you won't be there to feed the plant all the time, right? Not 24 hours, or not even 12 hours. So the plant supposed to be at least drink water 2 or 3 times. You are doing top watering. Okay, morning one time, evening another time. But the nutrient, okay, if you don't water it, it's not enough water. But you water and left for almost 6 hours, 8 hours, the plant still thirsty. So the plant always frustrated and not happy. When you're thirsty, you can get a drink. But sometimes when your maybe your mother come back, then he keep pouring on you. Not only pouring, give you water, he keep pouring over your head. So it's frustrated. So this is what most of the plants get treated this way. Okay, our environment is like that. So everybody repeat that, but without thinking. So you think, well, my master teach me how to do this, so I'm doing this correct 100% I follow. But the plant could have been a better treatment. Okay, be kind to the plant. Okay. So moisture about 20 to 30%, but if you can maintain it more constantly, then the plant grow, especially tomato, need constant moisture. If your moisture up and down, sometimes dry, sometimes then you will start crack, have a lot of problems. So certain plants need very constant moisture retention. Okay. So what is pH? We heard of pH very often, right? Okay. pH is potential of hydrogen. So why is hydrogen important? In fact, have you heard of this word NPK? Those that have grown sometimes know what NPK. Okay. N stands for nitrogen. P stands for potassium. Okay, and then K stands for phosphorus. P stands for phosphorus, and then K stands for potassium. These are 3 main ingredients. The bulk of the nutrient, the food for the plant. Okay, so just like for us, we eat rice, we eat noodle, we eat porridge. Okay, you take it as this. For all the giam, the side dishes, they are called micronutrients. Okay. So the temperature also important. Plant have a certain temperature range. when exceed the range, the plant not happy or get stunned, don't grow anymore or get burned even. Okay, so why people want to plant at Cameron Highland, how on top? But yeah, vegetable, most of the vegetable from 15 degree to 24 degree is the most optimized temperature. But how are we going to plant here? We don't have 24 degree. The plant still can tolerate. Okay, you up to 30, 34 degree, the plant can tolerate. But once above 34 degree, then the plant will try to dwindle. Okay, and you can use the fan to add on some to blow off the plant to cool down, also can. But most of the time we don't have that facility. What we can do is we shade it, shade the over the plant so that the plant do not receive too much heat to get heated up. Okay, here, okay, the nutrient proportion. You see, this is the nutrient. How much nutrient or what the plant make of is 42% are carbon. Okay, 44% oxygen, and then 7% of hydrogen. And what make up of the, as I said, NPK is the main bulk of the ingredient. There are also other micronutrients like calcium, magnesium, sulfur, silicon, chlorine. They only make up of 7%. Okay, these are the combination. So introduction to the plant nutrient. The mechanism of the nutrient uptake is later on. I will tell you how the root system works. The factor affect the nutrient absorption at the pH level, the acidity. So the hydrogen itself, okay, the nutrient, the pH level will affect whether they are ready to take in nutrient. Because too acidic plant certain they stop taking certain micronutrient. So the range is between about 6 to 7 for DT. Because certain like blueberry, it can be even like 4.5. When every mark the pH measurement is there 40 with 7 is neutral. Okay, anything below 7 is acidic. Anything above is alkaline. Every mark is not even. It's not a 7 mark. Then alkaline, that means everyone is double. That means this is 10 times, or this is 2 times, this is 4 times, this is 8 times, 16 times, 32 times more acidic than the level. So
all living organisms, plants need nutrients for their growth and development. They get carbon, oxygen and hydrogen from air and water to carry out photosynthesis, which is a very important process for plants. But what about mineral nutrients? Where do they get their mineral nutrients from? The answer is soil. The presence of minerals in soil is a result of weathering of parent rocks. This means the parent rocks undergo various chemical and physical mechanical changes, leaving behind these mineral elements in the soil as a result. These minerals in soil are either in absorbed form or in dissolved form. So to absorb the minerals from the soil, plants use their roots and in some cases their leaves. The mineral nutrients absorbed have many functions and roles to play in the body of plants. They are constituents of various proteins, pigments, nucleic acids and enzymes. They also play roles in cell signaling and metabolism. Plants take up these mineral nutrients in the form of ions. This uptake of minerals can either be a passive process, termed as passive transport, which takes place along the concentration gradient, thus requiring no energy, or an active process, termed as active transport, which requires energy because it occurs against the concentration gradient. The passive process transport, or absorption, can be explained by diffusion theory, the ion exchange theory, and Donan's equilibrium. Diffusion theory. When the concentration of mineral ions is higher in the external soil solution than the root, then the ions in the soil solution will move from a region of higher concentration, in this case the soil solution, to a region of lower concentration, that is the roots. This movement of molecules or ions is called diffusion. The ions keep moving inside until an equilibrium is reached. One of the reasons that allows the ions to diffuse into the root cells is because of the apparent free space. However, unlike non-charged molecules, ions will have difficulty to pass through the hydrophilic membrane directly. To facilitate the movement, the proteins called channel proteins and carrier proteins are needed. Ion exchange theory. In this process, the ions, mainly cations, that are absorbed to the root surface due to the negative charge of the cell wall, are exchanged with the ions present in soil. The positively charged hydrogen ions absorbed into the surface of the roots can easily be exchanged with cations of sodium and potassium present in the soil. Similarly, an anion like hydroxyl ion from the root cell can be exchanged with anion present in the soil. Ion exchange can be explained by contact exchange theory. According to contact exchange theory, ions can be taken up the plant without being dissolved in soil. The ions absorbed onto the root surface and the ions attached to clay particles are not entirely static. They oscillate in a small volume of space. And if the roots of plant and the soil particles are in close proximity, then the oscillation volume of the ions overlap. Ion exchange can take place. The exchanged ions enter the root by diffusion. Carbonic exchange theory. Roots of the plants continuously respire, which results in production of carbon dioxide. The carbon dioxide produced during respiration in roots combines with water to form carbonic acid, which dissociates into hydrogen and bicarbonate ion. The hydrogen ions produced as a result are exchanged with cations in soil. Donan equilibrium. Another theory of passive absorption is Donan's equilibrium theory, which states that there are some ions inside the root cells that are indiffusible across the membrane due to the selective nature of the cell membrane. If the root cells have cations accumulated inside as indiffusible ions, then anions present in soil enter the membrane without expenditure of energy to maintain a balanced electrical potential. The movement of anions in this example will result in an equilibrium which may not be equal in terms of concentration. These mechanics enable plants to take up minerals from the soil to ensure their proper growth.
Okay, here we see that the exchange of ion. Ion, I mean, is break down to very basic element. And the negative and positive ion. The neutron always come in like a negative ion, and the plant always secrete something that positive ion. So you break the change of the neutron, so that the neutron ion break down, so the plant can absorb, bring in the neutron. So this is science. So when you understand this, in fact, all the food that we eat, or all the organic material like vegetable, you break it down, as you do compost, you break it down. You need months to break it down because the bacteria will do the breaking down, and once they break down, actually go there, they digest it and come out become even smaller. And there are certain bacteria smaller than the other one, and eat it up, and a few change the process to break it down into the very basic element, the ion itself, in ionic state. So when ionic state, whether you come from organic material or you come from chemical process, that's why they are chemical fertilizer. They are also organic fertilizer. But once you don't want to break down, one is in the lab, one is through a natural process, could be animal, could be bacteria to break down. But if you come back to the basic element, the ion is still ion. Okay. A barrel ion still a barrel ion. So no different at that stage. Then plant can absorb as the ionic format only. Okay, so this is the root. The root itself, this is the root of the plant. But actually under the soil itself, a lot of things we don't see and it's transparent to us. There are bacteria grow. They call this mycorrhiza. Mycorrhiza is a beneficial fungus that attach to the root. Okay, it absorbs certain nutrients that the root or the plant produce, but it also extends itself very fast. They grow very fast. Within days, they can spread out a very big area. They pick up nutrients. They like the extension of the root, but very minor, smaller than hair size. Okay, they go all the way to pick up nutrients from all over, bring back to the root. So the root need not to be like the root must go all the way, but the root, this mycorrhiza actually coincide or cooperate with the root itself, pick up nutrients. If they co-feed each other, the plant feed the mycorrhiza. The mycorrhiza also helps to pick up the food for the plant, by working like a family. So that's why there's one method called non-tube method. Most of the time people say tube because the soil hardened. But there's one way of doing it is called non-tube farming. It means you keep planting on top. Why they don't want the tube is because the mycorrhiza build up. But once you tube, it disrupts the whole network. So it's proven that it works. It's a organic way of growing. So they always have to maintain some crop. Even the main crop is covered, they have to do a called a covered crop. The crop just to grow for the period so that the field are not left empty at all. Okay, but no tilling.
Take you
Okay, this is a
down
mycorrhiza,
the
how
root
it work.
system of a plant, and this is right at the tip of that root system. The picture on the right there, the little insert, represents a plant root. And the story I'm going to tell you about applies to all plants that have roots. So trees and shrubs, perennials, annuals, it doesn't matter. If it's growing roots, this story applies. So how do these roots grow? There's a special area at the tip of every root called the root cap. That's right at the bottom here. These are special cells, and their job is to multiply. The root grows by making more cells and basically creating a long chain of cells. And as it makes more cells, the root gets longer and longer. But in that process, it has to burrow through the soil. And a lot of the outside cells get damaged, and they're just sloughed off the root. So these are these white specks that you see. That's dead plant cells. A few inches back from the root tip are root hairs. You can see them as black lines. A lot of people talk about the root as absorbing all the nutrients and water, but that's actually not what happens. Most of those are absorbed by the root hairs. They're a little bit back from the root tip. They don't live very long. So these root hairs are formed and they're around for about 3 weeks, and then they die off. And as they die off, there's more plant material around this root. So what this root is actually doing is creating a kind of compost pile around itself. We got dead cells at the bottom, we have dead root hairs that are dying off, we have lots of organic matter around here. That's a compost pile. The other thing this plant root does is it creates something called exudates. The root expels chemicals. It squeezes out chemicals in the soil around itself. And it turns out that some of these plants are taking about 30% of the chemicals they make in the upper part, and the leaves, the stems, and so on. And they transport down to the root, and they squeeze it out as exudates. All kinds of different molecules. This doesn't sound like a good idea for a plant. I mean, it goes through all the effort and energy of creating these things, and then it just squeezes it into the soil. There's got to be a purpose for this, and there is. All this organic matter attracts the microbes, and they come and they live right next to this root. So the root is creating an environment that works for it. It likes to have these microbes around. Because remember what microbes do is they chew up all this organic matter, but then they die, and they release nutrients. The microbes are bringing the nutrients to the root and releasing them so the roots can absorb it, which makes it easier for the root. It doesn't have to go out and get its food. The microbes, in effect, are bringing it to the plant. In this slide, we're showing roots. Those are the large, kind of yellowish white things. There's 2 of them. And then fungi filaments, which are the fine hairs. And there's an interesting association between fungi and roots. And they actually join together into a symbiotic relationship. The fungi actually drill into the roots and create an attachment, and the two live together. You might have heard the term mycorrhizal fungi. It turns out that about 80% of the plants on Earth have this association. Why do this? Well, fungi don't have any leaves. They don't have any green stuff. They can't make their own food. They have to get all of their carbon, all of their energy from other things. And it just happens that plants have lots of sugar, lots of carbohydrates that the fungi need. But the fungi can provide things like phosphate and water to the root. So instead of the root growing out and covering wide areas of soil, it actually lets the fungi do it for it. So the fungi, and these things can be yards long, are going out, collecting nutrients and water, bringing it back, giving it to the plant, and the plant says, well, here's some sugars in exchange. Both of them are very happy. But what I find most interesting here is that the plant decides if and when it makes this association. So one of the exudates the plant creates attracts that fungi, and the fungi will only attach itself to the root once that chemical is present. So the roots, in effect, are saying, hey, I want to date you. Here's the exudate that tells you I'm interested in you. Come and attach. Let's have an association. Well, if you have a party with microbes, sooner or later some bad guys show up. Here we got a couple of purple bad guys. And these microbes want to eat plant roots. They can harm those roots. So what stops them from growing? I mean, this seems like a perfect environment for microbes. Why don't they grow? Well, it turns out that these exudates are specific for the microbes they want. So only certain microbes are happy living around that plant root. And some of those microbes actually attack the bad microbes. I mean, microbes are constantly warring with each other. They're constantly eating each other. And so the good microbes around this root are keeping the bad ones away and keeping the plant safe. The plant also conditions the pH of this soil. So it actually squeezes out some hydrogen ions. And hydrogen ions make the soil acidic. You may be familiar with the fact that plants grow best at a pH of about 6 to 6.5. And the reason that's the ideal pH is that at that pH, they have the easiest time to find their nutrients. When the pH goes higher to something above 7, a lot of those nutrients get stuck very tightly to soil particles and plants have trouble getting to them. But plants go really well in alkaline soil, at least most of them do. I mean, there are exceptions, so things like rhododendrons and blueberries don't grow in alkaline soil, but most things do. And my soil here is about a 7.4, and I can grow just about everything. But on paper, they shouldn't be that happy. They should have trouble growing here. The reason is that these plant roots are actually making the soil around the root, that rhizosphere area, more acidic. And the pH around the root is actually 2 pH units less. So the soil might be 7.4, but the pH around this root is going to be 5.5 to 6, which is like perfect for plant growth. So the plants are conditioning the pH around the root. To sum all this up, what plants are doing, they're creating an environment of organisms around themselves. The population around that root can be thousands of times higher than a few centimeters away from the root. This rhizosphere that we've been talking about is only a couple millimeters thick. So we have this high population of microbes. We have a high amount of organic matter. We have microbes that are living and dying and killing each other. All of that creates a lot of organic matter. That organic matter is decomposing and releasing nutrients. So in effect, the root is feeding itself by encouraging all these microbes to come around. What it's done is really created a compost pile, a whole bunch of compost right around that root. And that's one of the big secrets to good soil.
So this is how the root functions. So you see only one ball of root. Actually, because the root doesn't grow as fast, but the micro, within days, they actually spread all over the fungus itself. One is coexist. So that's how. So do not disrupt the root on soil unnecessarily.
Take you down to the root system of a plant, and this is right at the tip.
So this is the plant nutrient. NPK is the main nutrient. NPK is the main nutrient. There are others micronutrients, just like we need vitamin, different type of vitamin A, B, C, D, or D, E, A. So the plant need it. So micronutrients are essential for plant. Required very small, very small amount only. Okay. But the element is important. That for instance, if we without certain element, the leaf will turn yellow. Without iron, lack of iron, sometimes leaf turn yellow. But the leaf turn yellow also got different way. The whole leaf turn yellow, or the leaf turn yellow, but the green still green color. That is a different problem altogether. Okay, so you understand I have a chart. I will publish it in the chat group for you all to know. It's too short. I think just run through you know. So I just go through it and give it to you later on. So all these essential. We need iron, we need magnesium, zinc, copper. Each one have its own function. Like copper, without copper, you do not have photosynthesis to take place. So all those are important element that we must have. Okay. Organic versus inorganic compound. So always people say organic is good, right? Organic is good, chemical is bad. Actually, we are made of chemical. Our body is happening chemical reaction all the time. Whether you are eating food, also chemical reaction. It consists of chemistry, physics, and biology, all happening to us. Let's go to the plant also. So it's not bad or good. It's hard to control. When you have it processed like manufacture fertilizer, okay, they are very direct. They're all ready for the plant to absorb, but they are not balanced. So without putting whereas organic fertilizer, because they are not fully developed, so you need the microbe help to co-develop. So the microbe will balance it so that the overall soil mixture have a more balance. Whereas if you are over fertilized with the synthetic fertilizer, you're overwhelming the microbe. The microbe can't even handle so much. So the soil will damage. I mean the soil will not be able to regenerate enough nutrients or balance of nutrients. They have too much of one, but the lack of others. So the soil after some time planting, the soil cannot be used anymore because it's so imbalanced. Okay, so organic is good in the sense, especially if you don't want to spend too much time learning the science and spending time to do all the testing and development. Use organic. Organic, one thing is your organic fertilizer, you cannot expect you put in the organic fertilizer, the plant will grow because organic need breakdown. So you want to use organic fertilizer, put it into the soil, prepare the soil at least 2 weeks, best 3 weeks in advance, so that the microbe can actually digest it and produce a very nutrient-rich soil for you. Then you plant it, then it's okay. But otherwise, you say, I put nutrient, I put water, I put fertilizer, how come it don't grow? The best, $100 1 kg of organic fertilizer, it won't grow. It's not the price, but the process requires time. So you do not have enough time, it just won't give you the right mixture. Okay. Two sides of the coin. So this is the the organic way of growing. Okay, so like cow dung or organic material break down, then the bacteria will break down into smaller and smaller bacteria will eat up. The bigger one, bacteria will eat out a smaller one, and then it break into ions, and then you absorb it. But the other part, the very fast process, the lab process. But is it going to be harmful to our human body? It's not going to be harmful to human body, but it's going to be harmful to your soil. Because the plant only pick up what they need. Okay, and we eat with all the natural nutrients. No? That means all those things, if the plant pick up, if the plant need it, the plant won't pick up mercury and put inside the worm. So it will be harmful to the soil, and eventually our earth, all the soil are damaged. We cannot have enough food for ourselves. So don't go for mineral fertilizer or chemical fertilizer if we do not have the time, the knowledge, and it's going to be bad for the whole human race. Okay, go for organic. So it's not harmful because a lot of people mistaken. Oh, I eat, this is not organic or fertilizer. I eat, I will die. No, you will die anyway. You just better not now. So don't worry about dying. So it will not be harmful to your body. Organic, not necessarily it's good for the. They put in enough because we need nutrient from the plant. The plant has to absorb enough nutrient, then the plant can give us nutrient. Otherwise, you have a lot of fiber, a lot of water, but not the nutrient that we need. Our body will also need a certain balance of nutrient. Right? So that's why we eat different vegetables. Different vegetables give us different nutrients. So eat a variety of vegetables. So it's not like, wow, you give the best organic fertilizer, plant your chai siu, then every day you eat chai siu, then you're sure fall sick on. Okay, you have to have different type of variety so that we provide certain, like Chinese don't produce certain, nutrient one. Because they don't pick it up from the soil. It's not what they want. Okay, like eggplant, they have certain things like the eggplant skin, very strong, pick up certain like they call it COQ10. So that's very good for our blood circulation. You know, when you feel painful because the blood not circulating or blood not through, the vein is blocked. So eating different type of things is the must. Don't go into one.
Yellow soybeans are not
I
healthy.
don't want to go to it. It's already 5 o'clock. Let's proceed to the. Okay. Anybody? Let's have 5 minutes. Any question I can help you to address?
Watering the plants every day, is it? Once.
Sorry.
Watering the plant.
Watering the plant at least one. If
Once
you
a day,
do manual watering
Or to the soil lah.
to the
So
soil,
the best time is morning.
morning or evening,
Or
the best you can do it twice.
But not in the hot sun.
But unless you really want to kill time, okay, you have too much time. Otherwise, use automation method. Okay, you can even use drip irrigation, but don't use sprinkler. Sprinkler always on the top. That's not the best thing. You attract a lot of pests. So you use drip irrigation, okay. Okay, so what you see what we are doing, what we have on site is not high tech. We use smart tech. Meaning, very smart way of doing it. Very little input, very little maintenance, but very effective. That's why I call smart tech. You know there's one story, 三国孔明借箭. You have the story? I mean, Ming actually promised the three hardy the Cao Cao, Zhou Yu and Kong Ming. They are aligned fighting Cao Cao. So Zhou Yu actually was sabotaging when Kong Ming have signed order that you must produce 100,000 arrows within 3 days. Wow, impossible. So we're going to fight against Cao Cao. So Cao Cao had 连完船嘛, hauling up the so. But for me, because they understand the weather, so he said, okay, I sign. If I don't produce 100,000 arrows, my head get executed, get chopped off. So how he produce? First day, he didn't wine, enjoy, nothing happened. Then he just asked his soldier, prepare 草船, that means put a lot of haze, pile it up in the boat. And this other party thought he's going to use fire attack, burn and then attack. So second day, nothing happened. Then midnight, before the dawn of the third day, he really mobilized his troops. Okay, all go up, and never light up the haze, What he do it? So the other side, Cao Cao said, come and attack us, shoot arrow. Then this morning, just correct 100,000 arrows. So he never produced one arrow. So he did smart tech. So we also never produce with this farm, or this whole farm after you see the mega size, there's no pump, no electricity, and the water, the hydration is automatic. And then correct rainwater some more. Use rainwater. Of course we have an auxiliary water supply in case no rain, it's water still there. So this mystery we'll find out in few minutes time. Okay, you all go over first. I pack up and come and join you.
Okay, hi. So just now for those members, you're still not in my in our WhatsApp chat group. Maybe you all can scan